So I finally understand Michael Jordan fans, and I've been thinking about this for like the past 6 months because it's been so long since my favorite basketball player, Dirk Nowitzki, retired. And when I watch those highlights and when I see people do the Dirk Nowitzki edits and when I see people bring up the 2011 championship and I get so excited and I love how he's getting his recognition and everything, man, I start to feel that feeling of, man, I'll never get to see this guy play again. I'll never get to see how he would match up against some of these other guys that people are saying, oh, that dude's better than Dirk, or this dude is the best center or best power forward we've ever seen. This is the best shooting big man. And I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Don't forget about Dirk. And this is not just about sports. This is not just about like Michael Jordan. It's not just about Dirk Nowitzki. It's about this universal, unavoidable experience that a lot of us have where we're brushing up against and realizing that we're finally understanding the previous generation. And a lot of us think that we'll never get there. We see like the way that our uncles or our dads or like old heads at the barber shop, we realize the way they operate, the way that they talk, the way that they, prop up their music, prop up their TV shows, prop up their culture, right? And we're like, I'm not going to be like that, right? We think that we're going to be just these open-minded people that appreciate everything, always, all the time. And honestly, I think the people that are open-minded will start to realize very slowly, like, oh wow, I am becoming that. And I think again, this is something that I think we all should really lean into because there's no issue, there's nothing wrong. You don't lose anything by starting to understand that you are making those transitions over. And so like this isn't about just about sports. This is about culture in general. I think we as people, we just repeat experiences over and over and over and over. And one of the other big things that has been happening to me lately is my first girlfriend ever. She has a child. Her little sisters, who I watched grow up, have children, but she also had nieces, right? They were 5 and 3 when I first met them, and the oldest sister is having a baby. Her brother is just a 6 foot tall grown man, and I look at them and I so badly want to be like, I remember when you were a tiny little thing. And when people say that to us, right, when your uncles and the people that hadn't seen you in so long say, oh my goodness, I can't believe how much you've grown. And we're like, this is no big deal. I've just been living my life. I'm sorry that you weren't here. But now I'm realizing how they felt because to see, one of her little cousins who I just adored, to see her graduate, to see her having a child, to be looking at her mom's Facebook statuses and getting updates, like this was a whole experience. And I was telling my mother, I was like, Mom, no matter what you do, life will continue. My little brother, my mom was in a previous relationship, and the other lady's son is basically my little brother. I continuously, I would have for years called him my little brother because we just spent too much time together for me to not act like that as family. But he wasn't even potty trained when we met him, and now he's graduating high school. And so these are the type of things that you experience from different perspectives and never really thought to yourself, oh, I'm going to operate and act in the exact same way when I'm in the exact same position. So for me, it's just about understanding that you don't have to push back on that. And it's about understanding that, like, even though I may be becoming that old head, even though I may be becoming that guy that's gonna bring up Dirk Nowitzki in conversations and vouch for him and fight for him, we're getting at the point where people are talking about how all these other animes are so much better than Dragon Ball Z. I'm going to defend Dragon Ball Z to hell. They're going to be talking about how all these other consoles are so amazing, and I'm going to be bringing up the N64 or the PS2. There is a couple of more decades of me defending myself against the new and upcoming things. And I think I've done a good job. I think I've done a good job of kind of adapting to the times, right? As somebody who started doing content creation with YouTube, and I'm finally returning back to it, as you can see, the way that people do short form content and the way that content operates and acts now is totally different. And I constantly reach and think back to my OGs, my content creator senseis. I still love talking about Maurice K. Carter. I still love talking about Spoken Reasons. I still love talking about Emmanuel and Philip Hudson. Now, these guys are still doing well, right, in their content creation space. But it's like, I always want to lean into, hey, don't forget about these dudes. And that's the ideology of an old head, right? RDC World 1. I love Mark Phillips. One of my favorite thing about that group, RDC World 1, is they grew up just maybe 45 minutes away from where I grew up, right? I grew up in Arlington, Texas. They went to college. I didn't. I think Mark's family actually lives in San Antonio. But these are the content creators that I'm always going to prop up, right? And I will vouch and put them up against anybody when it comes to, hey, what are we experiencing in the YouTube space? So all of these things are coming together. And I think what's really important to understand is it's not about their it's about almost every other thing other than those things that were going on in that person's life that make it where they can be, right? One of the biggest reasons why I love the Dallas Mavericks so much, I talk to every time I get into a relationship, I tell this story because it's such a big part of my emotional experience. When my sister graduated and went to college, it was just me and my mom, right? And so me and my mom bonded over watching the Dallas Mavericks. There's 82 games in a season, so can you imagine how many times me and my mom sat down and we watched the Dallas Mavericks and we cheered for them and we celebrated them, and they lost and we went to bed mad, and they won and we hugged each other, and they were about to lose but then they came back. All of those things add on to Dirk Nowitzki hitting a one-legged fadeaway. It's not just the one-legged fadeaway, right? When I think about the N64, it's not just Mario Kart. It's not just a single Mario Kart. We had that trick where you could jump over the side of Rainbow Road, and if you did it right, you can land underneath. And I remember getting double lapped and being able to come back 3 times over by using that trick and bouncing a green shell off the edge of the Rainbow Road, knocking somebody who was about to be in first place and passing them up. So it's not just about the things, right? It's not just about just these individual things that people prop up. It's almost everything that surrounded them during that time. Celebration, right? When you finally begin to understand other people's experience, granted, right, sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it takes you experiencing it yourself before you really get it. But that is a level of self-awareness to be able to get excited about it. That to me is showing that you are probably growing in the right direction to say, wow, there's a not only understand what they meant when they said you would understand when you get older, you also understand why. Here's what it was. It was not only do you understand the things that they said you would understand when you get older, you also understand why they said you would understand when you got older. And to me, that is the perfect like display of really what life is. It's so hard to simulate what it means to gain wisdom. And so gaining wisdom and that being a part of growing into an experience is not something to be ashamed of, right? And so sometimes we hold our head down and we're like, "Man, I'm older. I'm amongst the old crowd now." Or I'm that generation now that they look on and they say, "Oh, it's he one of them," right? But also, man, it's a whole new opportunity to be able to impart wisdom where you can show up in ways for that generation that maybe you wish that that previous generation would have showed up for you. There's a lot of opportunity, and to even speak for a younger generation to know that, hey, this is down the line, right? Take advantage of the fact that you have older people that that can see the transitioning and the phases of becoming someone else and becoming one of the elders. And I think some of the best experiences to have are those people that are only 10, 15 years older than you, right? So for me at 33 going on 34, this is like the 20 and 21-year olds, right? Obviously I'm not the 50-year-old guys, right, that they have probably little to nothing in common with, but we'll have some things in common with, and I'll just be a little bit of an old head. But it's an opportunity for people to really be able to lean into something instead of shying away from this idea that, like, oh man, I'm becoming one of the old dudes, I'm becoming one of the aunties or whatever, right? I think this is an experience that I am really encouraging people, especially men, to lean into and form community from, because man, I finally it feels funny, but I finally get it. Like, I understand why they can't let Michael Jordan go. I understand why they never stop seeing you as that little baby that you were when they first met. It's an extraordinary experience, and there are so many different types of human experiences that I think we rush our way through in life, and we miss them. And so I think my kind of mission is to continue to talk about these experiences, bring them up, soften them, and encourage people to slow down. My grandmother used to always talk about how we do everything so fast. And she was right. Like, we do everything so fast, even to the point where we eat. She would talk about how you take a bite of food and you don't even chew, you just swallow. That's how quickly we do things. And I think if we slow down, man, we'll have better experiences. So, hey, these are the type of things that we are talking about. And man, I hope you got something from it. So, I'm not going to do no long, drawn out ending. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments.